Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another daily devotion. I'm Pastor Roy here at Woodlawn Christian Church, and we do these devotions Monday through Friday of every week. Well, except this week, because Monday was the 4th of July. So this week we're starting on Tuesday. This devotion is for Tuesday, July 5th of 2022, but I am recording it on the 4th, so I am doing some work for you all today to get this recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So, today we are just going to take a very small bite because I'm going to go back and relax for the 4th. Today we're looking at the story that all of us know, the story of Jesus cleansing the temple. Now, this story shows up in different places in the Synoptics. It's here at the end of Jesus' ministry. John has it up at the beginning. And lots of times people try to say, oh, they're two different cleansing stories. Well, that seems like a bit of a stretch, let's put it that way, to think that Jesus could get away with this twice. I don't think so. For some reason, John wanted to use it at the beginning. I think it happened at the end. I think that I'm going to go along with Mark's telling of it, and John, or Mark and Luke and Matthew. Um, John, for whatever reason, wanted it at the beginning to show that this is what Jesus is doing. The whole ministry of Jesus is to cleanse the temple. Um, but here we have Jesus in the temple complex, not inside the temple itself, but in the temple complex. And so let's take a listen to this. It's just verses 12 and 13 in the 21st chapter of Matthew's Gospel. Then Jesus entered the temple and drove out all who were selling and buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. He said to them, "It is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." Okay, this is the first thing Jesus is doing right after the triumphant entry into the city. So here he is actually quoting two different Old Testament writings. Okay, two different prophets. He's first quoting Isaiah. It's actually Isaiah 56:7, but I want to read 56:6 and verses 6 and 7 to you, because I think 6 is worthwhile here for setting up 7, which is kind of the way Scripture works. So Isaiah 56:6 and 7. And foreigners who bind themselves to the Lord, to minister to him, to love the name of the Lord, and to be his servants, all who keep the Sabbath without desecrating it, and who hold fast to my covenant. These I will bring to my holy mountain, and give them joy in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations. Okay, and that is important because Jesus is doing this in the temple complex. He's in the court of Gentiles, where you have people from all over the world coming in, and some of them would be God-fearers and not necessarily converted Jews or natural born Jews. And the other thing that he's quoting is Jeremiah chapter 7 verse 11. Has this house which bears my name become a den of robbers to you? But I have been watching, declares the Lord. That he doesn't mention that, but that's a little frightening, shouldn't it be, to them as well as us? Of course, we all know that Jesus is in there because the ruling class, the Sadducees, the priests have basically created an industry there where they've got these money changers and they've got these people selling animals. You could only make your temple offering in temple coins, so you had to convert your money from wherever you came from, whatever the money was in your nation, because every country had their own currency, and you would have different conversion rates, unless of course it was gold, and they would weigh the gold, and it would be the way you would determine it, gold or silver. But here you've got the priests setting up this way of exchanging the money. And of course, whenever they exchange the money, even if you do it today, you're going to pay a bit of a fee, which is understandable. There's a conversion fee there. They're doing a service for you. Of course, here with the temple, you would think that they would be providing it at no charge, because they should be allowing these people to come and worship, because it's required for worship. So that seems a little bit peculiar, but at the same time, okay, we can't begrudge them trying to make a profit, a small profit, not an abusive profit. And also, people are coming from all over the world. They and the known world at that time. They wouldn't have been coming from all over the world, but the known world at that time. And they wouldn't be able to bring sacrificial animals with them, doves and lambs and what have you. So it would make much more sense to come to the temple and purchase those sacrificial animals there, because you got two problems with bringing your own. First of all, you've got to bring it from perhaps a long way away, and it might die on you, or just bloody inconvenient to have to be dragging a sacrificial lamb along with you, or a cage containing these birds. That's just not easy to do. And the other problem you would have would be if you got to the temple and suddenly the priest said, "Oh, that one's not acceptable. You have to buy one anyway." And so that would have been a doubly bad. You brought something all that way, gone to the inconvenience of dragging it along, and now it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to the priest. Not that it's not acceptable to God, but it's not acceptable to the priest and or the ones that are in charge. And they, of course, don't want it to be acceptable because they want to sell you one of their own. And of course, we I believe talked about back when we were talking about in Luke's gospel with the shepherds out on the hills with the lambs out there in Bethlehem, that's the area where the sacrificial lambs were raised, was around the Bethlehem area. So those shepherds would have been watching over those sacrificial lambs. So this is kind of plays into the perfect lamb. But I digress. That's the birth story, not the cleansing of the temple story. But so that's what's going on here. Jesus is upset that they are making a profit, that they've turned what should be into a way to access or to grease the wheels. I'm not sure that's not the right word there, but to facilitate. That's the word Roy wants. Facilitate the act of giving your sacrifice and coming and worshiping. That what they should be doing is facilitating that and not abusing it. But here we can look at this in our own way. How are we doing things? Are we doing things that are benefiting us and not really benefiting those that are trying to come to God? Do we come up with things that are a stumbling block? Paul warns us about stumbling blocks. Are there things that we're doing? What about our own temple here? Are we allowing the right things to come through? Are we allowing the proper way of worshiping, or are we doing it just strictly to gain and curry favor with others? Are we doing it? Definitely don't be coming to God doing it as a way to gain business connections or something like that. Is what I guess I'm thinking. My mind's a little bit just misdirected at the moment. I apologize for that. But we just need to be worried. Do we have our house in order? Do we have our temple complex in order, or is there something going on that we're doing wrong? And that could be our own self, or it could be the church as well. Are we doing things for the right reason? Are we doing things to benefit God, or are we doing things for our own public image, whether it's the public image of the church or it's the public image of the individuals? Are we doing things because the whole thing about putting our name on things, that's one of those things where we're not doing it for the right reason. And I've talked about that before. I've known a person that did a lot of good charitable things, gave a lot of money to the church, but that person always insisted that everything that they were involved in bore their name. That their name had to be on it, not just a little whatever, but the named after her or him or her. I'm not going to slip of the tongue there. Named after them. That's not the right way to do it. It should be done to glorify God, not to glorify yourself. You've gained something from that, which is not the way it's supposed to be. That's not saying that one does not, the pastors don't get paid, because that's the way that it works, that we're able to make a living to pay our own bills. Though, trust me, no one gets into the ministry to get rich. and not unless you're going to get into televangelism or something like that. Some of the people that you see, we won't mention names, named names, don't do that. But there are some people that do perhaps get into it trying to get fame and fortune. Definitely not the reason that should get you into ministry. It shouldn't be about that you're going to get wealthy, and it certainly shouldn't be about that your name is going to become a household name. Not going to happen here with Roy, that's for sure. All right, with that, I think I'm going to let go with this one for today. We've gone longer than I anticipated by a considerable amount. I expected this to be very, very short. So, but it is a good bit of scripture. It is one that we do all know, but it's perhaps one that we don't think about applying it back to ourselves. And let's try to do that. We always should try to do that. When the fingers are being pointed at others, remember there's always more fingers pointing back at you. Yeah, pointing that one finger at you, there's 3 pointing back at me. Excuse me. We need to remember that at all times. All right. With that, I'm going to let you go. Please have a blessed day. I hope you had a blessed 4th of July. I hope it was a safe one, first and foremost. But have a blessed day, and please, please, please be a blessing to someone today. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.